Welcome to the fourth episode of Yeah the Girls, the official Geelong Cats AFLW podcast brought to you by Deakin University, home to the world's #1 sports science school. Renee Gehring here. I'm joined again by Georgie Rankin and Becky Webster. How are we today, girls?
Hello, Renee. I'm going well this week. How are you girls?
I'm very good, and I'm happy to see both your smiling faces after maybe not the weekend that we'd hoped, but we're back, we're regrouped, and we get to do the podcast.
I know, on a Tuesday today.
On a
Tuesday afternoon.
Training day.
Just before hitting the track.
I know,
So
it's beautiful outside.
it is, isn't it? We've had some really nice days.
I know. So lucky.
Been stunning.
It's great. Well, we do have a big show lined up today, don't we, girls? So we've got looking back at Friday night's game against the Roos and lots to take out of that. We'll be Rankin with Georgie Rankin, and we'll also be joined by a very special guest, our skipper, Meg McDonald, ahead of her 50th game this weekend. She's a two-time All-Australian, best and fairest in her first year at the Cats, and it's her 5th season as our captain. So really looking forward to chatting with her. We all know that she has plenty of great things to say, and hopefully we'll learn some new things as well.
I did think that. I thought, have we heard all Meg's stories before? Absolutely not. She's always got something new to learn. She articulates herself so well, so very much looking forward to that.
Yes, can't wait to have her on.
Yeah, and we'll allow a little bit extra time, I think, for Meg as the guest today.
Completely.
Yes. Lots of chats. Before we kick into reviewing and chatting about Friday night's game, it'd be remiss of us not to recognise Charlotte Simpson. For those of you that are following along the socials last night, Charlotte Simpson, one of our VFLW players, I think took every award that she could last night. The Debbie Lee Rising Star initially, then named in the VFLW Team of the Year, and then at the very end, last award and the biggest of the evening, I think she was joint with two other players.
Three-way tie.
The Lambert Pierce VFLW Best and Fairest. So a big congratulations to Simo. Gee, we got to play alongside her this season.
Yeah.
And seeing her at work, and we're training alongside her at the moment. And yes, a really exciting young player. So congratulations, Simo.
Well done, Simo.
Well done,
awesome.
Simo.
So
Smashed
well
it.
deserved.
And
So
probably best dressed too. She looks stunning.
Didn't she? I loved her dress. Yeah,
So
it
pretty.
was nice.
Did well there.
Good job, Simo.
So Friday night, girls, it was a great night, wasn't it? Another in terms of the weather. I'm talking to start off with, obviously. We'll talk to the game in a moment, but great conditions on a Friday night. We've had a really great run of weather and good numbers coming out post school holidays. Obviously, a tricky time. Right on the end of school, but of work for some people. But to those that got out, it was really great to see, and we heard them.
We did. The chant started I think we're going into the 4th, and I always love when the chant gets around us. I'm like, they're with us. We're doing our best. So, no, our fans are so good. Like, you do genuinely hear them when you're out there. It's not like white noise. It's like, we hear you. We're doing our best for you guys, but love when they get around it.
It was so good. As you guys know, I was doing a little bit of a sideline interview during the first quarter.
I actually watched that back. You're looking up at the screen.
Looking up at the screen while talking. Anyways, I was in the race for the first sort of quarter, watching you girls, and the fans so loud, and I was like, it was revving me up, and I'm like, okay, chill out. I was like, come on, G, or whatever it was. But being like right there, you can hear it on the ground, but being right there, I was like, oh my God, so loud, so supportive. It was great to have them out.
And look, not the result we would have hoped for in the end, and obviously a level of disappointment in ourselves wanting that we wanted to take on a really good opposition in North Melbourne and have another crack at them this season. The top of the ladder and knowing the improvement that we've had. And there was some really reflecting on it alongside we just wanted to get them, but there was a lot of positives to take from that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly, coming in now on a Tuesday, we have had a bit of a review yesterday in Monday's session. But yeah, that first half, seeing what we could do when we are in control, when we're playing more our brand. And then what I guess is promising is looking at the review, it's very clear what disappears, in that second half of the game when they gain control and it's on their terms, and sort of those just recalibrating back to what we do best is probably what we need to find to be able to do that in game, because when you review it, it is quite clear to see those significant differences, I feel.
Yeah, completely. And I think watching it from up top, the first half was great. I thought the pressure on the footy was awesome. Bowie did some spectacular tackles in the forward 50, which resulted in goals, and that came off press as well. But yeah, as the second half sort of came along, pressure around the footy probably wasn't as there in the second half compared to the first half, and then a bit of a structure stuff that let us down in getting the ball forward and ball movement there. But they're easy fixes for us.
Yeah.
It's something that we can we've reviewed and we can look back and go, you know what, this is on us and what we can do to improve this. It wasn't like North Melbourne threw anything that we weren't expecting and we couldn't match. We proved that in the first half that we could easily match it with them and kept them goalless. So definitely some great positives out of the game, as much as it was frustrating at the time.
And some across the board, people in their moment, owning their moment. And we talk about that often when it's your opportunity and your time to go. I think of straight up Zali Friswell and that rundown, that potentially a sure goal for North Melbourne.
Actually, can I share?
Jets.
I don't know whether Meg was going to mention it, but she did say to her, I think it might have been post game, and she went, "Zali, you know, you saved that goal for us." And she went, "Yeah, I know I did."
She's so self-aware.
Yeah,
I
you
love
did.
it.
But that was so good. I actually looked up a number of times going, thank goodness our wingers are so diligent in their structure
their
up and
role.
positioning and work rate to get up and down the ground.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bowie and her couple of goals, and she's playing our system.
Completely.
That doesn't just happen. It's Bowie playing her role, but it's everyone else setting up and putting that pressure on, and then her playing the system that we wanted to. There's others, I think you had massive moments in terms of spoiling the ball and around the ground. Shan, our defence, the ball, it did keep coming, and at times really quickly. Gunj and Meg,
Skip had some great moments. She had one in that, which we may refer to
well,
later, but you know.
Chelsea Randall went her, and Meg came up and bounced back up, and Randall was probably down for another 5 minutes. So
Came off the ground.
But
then later on, she had I think it was maybe a spoil followed by a smother, repeat efforts of just not letting them do what they want to do, but they were just the 1%er. It really, that sort of stuff is just when you're throwing everything at it and being like, I'm absolutely not letting you mark this footy or just get a kick away. And similar with Gunj.
Yeah, completely. I want to quickly shout out you, G. I thought you had one of the best games I've ever seen you play, and that's just off the back of your hard work across all your seasons. But this pre-season, I feel like you've really, elevated your marking and your positioning and your hunger, and it was just it was so great to watch you sort of take every moment that was yours and really own it. But yeah, big
Thanks,
shout out
Beck.
for you, Dal. I thought you
really
played
appreciate
so well.
that. That is so kind of you. Thanks, girl.
So while we're chatting individuals, let's chat our High Performer of the Week, presented by our high performance partner, Deakin University, a global leader in sport education. G, do you want to chat about and kick us off who we've chosen for this one?
We couldn't go past our girl Gunj.
Yeah.
What a game we saw her play.
Claude.
Obviously, touched on at the end. Claude Gunjaka, or what do they say? Gunjaka?
Yeah.
But she really was unbelievable. 19 disposals, 7 marks, 8 rebound 50s. And some of her kicking, we know she's got a beautiful long kick, but there was a couple that were just thread the needle stuff of finding someone. There was one over on the boundary, and I can't remember who it was, but she just hit them on the chest, and I just thought her confidence and her precision, and we know that she's a real battler and, just shows that grit week in, week out, just a competitive beast. So to see all the elements of the game coming together for her, I think you'd said overlap run.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was just she reads the ball so well. I think both her and Meg do that. They get the best positioning and then and read it and take those intercept marks at crucial moments. So held us up down there again. We say that Zal stopped one of the goals, but we know how many that could get through if we didn't have the back line and all of everyone working together, and particularly Gunj. I felt this game particularly really stood up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Gunj.
Great work, Gunj. So we do know there's a few players, obviously, that have been working hard in rehab. And Becky, we know you did a really hard running session pre our game on the weekend, came in and had been ticking off some Ks. Can you give us a bit of an update on how you're going?
Yeah, so hit the 8-week mark today, actually, and since doing my hammy, but I'm up for team selection this week, which is so exciting.
I think I messaged you almost straight after the next day. I think I said it straight after the game. Pretty pumped.
I'm super excited to, even this week have full training, real no cap on on high speed meters or max velocity or anything like that, which is exciting. But just keen to be around the group as much as, I've been trying to get around you guys as much as I can, but be fully involved with everything again, which is fantastic.
Your attitude has just been amazing. Like honestly, would not even pick that you've been in rehab all this time. Every session you turn up to, you get around the group, you're contributing in all the team meetings, and you get your stuff done. Then you're out on the track with us. So I feel like I see you out there immersed. I know it must feel different to you, but I just feel like the way that you've taken this on, like 8 weeks is a long time, and you've just taken it in your stride and just had the most optimistic outlook on it and put all your teammates first and what we're doing on field before even probably some, inner challenges you would have had along the way. So you've been unreal, Beck.
Thanks, girls. That's enough said. Thank you. Making me blush. No, it's exciting. I'm excited and, just ready to get off the chain.
Yeah. And big game this weekend.
Yes.
So Port Adelaide, we never played them.
True.
So
Spud's old team
in Adelaide. They're coming off a win on the weekend, a close game against St Kilda. And lots to learn. Obviously, we head into the weekend and focusing on what we need to focus on. Obviously, we'll listen to the coaches in terms of things that Port might do structurally and things like that around the game. But I think for us and our focus is playing the brand of footy that we want to play, isn't it, girls?
Completely. It's, reflecting on the review probably last night, Dan, came into it with, how do you girls play your best footy?
Yeah,
and
great question that he came back to.
Yeah, which you do know internally, but it's great to have the group around and just, really nut it out in terms of how the team plays their best and how you can individually contribute to that. And I think that's what we're really going to hone in on this week, like we do every week, but just really this is what we do well and this is how we win games by playing our structure and our system, and the outcome, will work itself. Yeah, so
totally.
Pumped to play Port and
Saturday,
bring our best.
Yeah, last interstate trip until hopefully finals.
Yes.
So, great trip away. 1 o'clock, I think 1:05 maybe Saturday.
Yeah, that's usually a something 05. So I'm going to say it's 1:05.
1:05 Victorian time.
It'll be on TV in some form for the Cats fans to tune in
Channel
if
7?
they aren't travelling over to Adelaide themselves. But so looking forward to that one. All right, we might take a little break, and after that we'll come back with our special guest, Meg McDonald, our captain, our 50 gamer this week.
There's a reason Deakin Sport Management course attracts the greatest talent the nation has to offer. Because when you join the longest running sports management course in Australia, you'll gain access to unique opportunities with leading clubs and organisations. Their partnership with the Geelong Football Club, multiple elite industry partners, will open the door to exciting placement experiences that connect you with the best athletes, managers and administrators in sport. Help shape the future of the sports industry. Secure your part in the golden decade of sport. Head to deakin.edu.au.
And we are back with special guest Meg McDonald, our captain. She is a two-time All-Australian. She's been a best and fairest of our club, and she's a friend to us all. Welcome on, Meg.
Meggie girl.
Hey, gals. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And
I've been listening and just being like, stopping myself, just send you just essays of replies about how I would have responded at each point of the pod.
I was going to say, is it critiquing?
I was like, what is this going to be?
We're trying to live up to you, Meg, in terms of your hosting and how you would do things. And I've been asking for tips along the way, and you're my go-to with Which Cat Is That? It's not a new segment to you because I call and check in and ask for your help as well.
Yeah, but I'm regularly, we get to clue 8 and I don't know.
Which is the aim.
Well, I haven't got any left.
I do.
So I haven't got any right so far, so I can't comment on that.
I felt for you last week. There were things like, it's a lot of a lot of your rankings. The thing that makes Scotty the best traveller is the fact that she booked a haircut last time she was in Adelaide.
What?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
I didn't know this.
great. That was
In
great.
Adelaide.
So
on game day.
Last year, she was like, I've got some time, I'll just book a haircut in Adelaide.
Oh my
and then
God,
this
that gives
time
me
she booked an hour-long massage. That's why she was late to the team meeting.
Was it really?
Yeah, she didn't know the team meeting had been brought forward half an hour, so she rolls in because she's gone and booked herself an hour-long massage just around the corner.
That is great.
Oh my
hilarious.
God, bless her
The
soul.
haircut did get me because I'm pretty sure didn't Dan or one of them got one the same day.
Hilarious.
Did we
When you
go to
got
the
the
same barber?
time, you might as well, I guess.
Yeah.
If life is busy, which we know it is for Scotty, and
That's a great.
I think the
great
most
memory.
roguish thing I've done is get my
Life is
toes
busy.
done, but that was the day
did you
before.
get
That was the
toes done?
day before. Me and AMAC went and got our
Oh,
petty
yeah, I
done
remember that.
somewhere.
Also, I have one carry-on bag. And
Oh.
also...
One
wasn't
carry-on
it?
bag. What about your
And the
backpack?
gun.
What about your backpack?
And the gun,
and the
that's
gun.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
And your
There's
And
backpack.
no, you said
Definitely
2 carry-on bags and the bum bag and the Theragun.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like,
the bum
Virgin aren't
bag
going to let me back on.
7 kilos.
Okay.
Well done.
Sorry.
You've trimmed up on the carry-on then.
And
Yeah.
I've stopped myself sending those messages, and yet I've come out with it now. But anyway,
Well,
we take it on board.
We do. And we have lots that we could ask you and would love to ask you. And we were saying earlier that is there stuff we don't know? And we chat with you lots in preparation for training and at training sessions and so forth. But for us, but also for our listeners, to learn a bit more about you, first of all, your journey in footy hasn't been just a straight line in terms of it was an expectation in terms of leadership and where you are at the Cats. And some people from the outside, if they just follow Cats, might think you just started your career at the Cats like some people did. Can you talk us through a little bit about your journey and where you started footy?
yeah, sure. I feel like you three have probably heard this too many times, but we'll go again. I was born in 1991.
90s baby.
90s baby, which I only say to illustrate the fact that for us, 90s babies.
90s,
I mean,
yeah.
you're
Oh,
all.
I'm-
no,
I'm
you're
also
not.
a 90s baby.
80s baby.
Probably not as much visible AFL. Oh, you're 80s.
80s, I'm 88, yeah.
As much footy for little girls. But, you know, I played markers up at, I'm going right back here, played markers up at recess and lunch. Loved it. My dad worked at North Melbourne Footy Club from 1989 to 2010, I believe. So a long time. And I was, for a lot, because North were good in the 90s, I was obsessed with going to the footy with him and kicking the ball as much as possible. And, you know, so I did a lot of footy in that sense, but I never did Auskick, and I never played as a kid. I played a bunch of different sports, primarily tennis. And when I was about 23, I think, I thought sports sort of left my life. I wasn't playing as much tennis. I was having a rough time at uni and just generally. And I thought, you know what, I need to get some sport back into my routine. And through tennis, I knew Darcy Vesio, who listeners will know plays for Carlton, and we worked together at Tennis Australia. And I thought I'd follow them down to watch them because I'd missed their exhibition game and their grand final, and I thought, you know what, I've got to level up. I'm going to go to training. So I went to training at the famous Darebin Falcons. Just loved it. I just loved how expressive everyone was. And we did I remember the first warm-up lap of the oval, and everyone's going, "Come on, girls!" or you know what?
Yeah.
Like,
On the lap.
they were just like not like hurry up, but like
Yeah.
getting around each other.
Yeah.
Just that, you know, what we all know footy clubs to be. I just hadn't had that experience playing individual sports. Loved it and went from there. So that was 2015. I played some resis that year, and I reckon it was that year that it was announced that AFLW was coming in 2017. I was the last signing, missed the draft, so I didn't get picked up in the draft. The last signing to the Bulldogs. Not a marquee signing, as G wrongly said the other day. Those people got a lot of money.
Yeah.
I thought that was for our
I got
club.
lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, not even.
Oh,
Not even. Anyway, I managed 4 games in the back half of that season. I think we finished bottom of the ladder, and I got delisted.
Forward line, were you back then?
I was in
Yeah,
the forward
yeah.
line. Look, I was hitting up, and they were kicking it long,
Yeah.
and we lost.
Could have had a
most
bag
games.
every game.
Could have had a
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah.
So rightly got delisted. Well, depends who you ask. Got delisted. But was super lucky to have a really supportive and great VFLW club in Darebin, and went back there and just played for a bit longer. Like I'd only played for a year and a half at that stage. Got better, and I was an expansion signing to the Cats when they came in the 3rd year of AFLW in 2019, and have been here ever since.
I feel like that's a special status to have though for a signing, an expansion signing.
Expansion signing.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I was basically like only 2 clubs could have expansion signings that year, so North and Geelong. Thought I might get a look in at North, having, my dad be a life member at the club, but whatever.
Did you get to walk through these 4 walls before you signed, or was it sort of?
I remember coming down because playing VFW for Darebin at the time, and we came and played down here, and I think Asta and Melissa Hickey had already been signed to the Cats, and I knew that they were kind of looking at me, and we played the worst game of football. Like,
Is that always the case?
It was so windy. We warmed up out on the cricket oval. Could hardly hit a target in the warm-up because it was so windy, and went out here and got done. And I thought, don't think that helped my chances.
So you're playing for Darebin versus Geelong VFL.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I came down. I think I came down, and the first time I was in here was for the conversation where I said, yes, I'd like to come to the Cats.
And when was the first time Dan's like, oh, sorry, it was Paul Hood at the time.
Yeah, Hoodie.
You're a backliner. How did that feel?
Well, I think I was drafted as, like, those 2 years that I played in between at Darebin. So I played 2 VFL seasons between my time at the Dogs and time at the Cats, and I played in defence then.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't really remember the switch to defence.
She's a natural.
Obviously fine with it.
We love it.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in. I know you're next, Becky. But just on that, so obviously there comes the highs and the lows. And you did say yourself that, yes, you may have only been playing for a year and a bit or whatever it was. But that's still something you've got to work through. And I don't reckon many listeners, would actually know that part of your journey and how that looked. How did you go with that?
The delisting?
Yeah, and getting back to a position of being on a list.
Obviously was pretty shattered. I mean, it's so funny. And we have these chats where you look at players who are now trying to lead and encourage, and they're on the fringe of lists, or they may or may not be getting a game. And when you're in it, you're thinking, what don't you see in me? Because I feel like I should be on the team, or I feel like I've got something. But I do ultimately think that at the end of the day, there is a sort of grey patch. Maybe you're in, maybe you're not, but you want to go to work on making yourself, beyond doubt when it comes to selection or listing or whatever. But the reality for me was I thought I'd have to make a conscious decision about how much I committed to footy. But really I just had great people around me in a great club where I enjoyed going to training and getting better. I still love trying to get better at footy. And, I also did things like I saw a dietitian, I saw an exercise physiologist, because ultimately that delisting makes you realise that if you're only turning up to training and doing what everyone else is doing, you're not going to make ground up on them. I felt like I had to, cross that bridge in ability somehow. So I did that and had some like lovely words of encouragement along the way, and felt that from that first pre-season at the Cats that it was interesting. My parents into our first ever game were like, do you think you're going to get a game? Because I guess they were thinking about my Bulldogs experience, and I was at that stage like, yeah, I'm confident. I'm in now.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah, you're so rigid in
cool.
what you do, Meg, and it reflects the way you play, the way you lead. This is your 5th
I like
season.
to be a bit looser with how I play sometimes.
No, of course, but
Disciplined.
disciplined,
Yeah.
and you always are doing the extras, and you're probably the first one here and the last one to leave. But this is your 5th season as captain, and do you find there's moments or something that you do where you feel like you're the best leader you can be in terms of your prep, and where do you find that little sweet spot? Because you had Mel Hickey sort of lead before you, and it's been great to have you as a captain. How does it feel to hold that, and when do you best lead?
I think it was a stat on my my little clue how many captains I've played with. Like I had a lot of really strong leadership when I was at the Falcons, but even in my first few years whenever I go to a captain's day, we always laugh that a number of us were at the Bulldogs together in 2017. Anyway, I'm trying to grow into it each year. I think it sort of reflects where the squad is at, and I've always felt that it's a combination of time and place and where the group's at, because I came into a club where there was that senior, like Hickey had been brought in and Asta had been brought in, but beyond that, there weren't heaps of people my age, and you girls were a young group, had VFL leadership like you, Renee. But I felt confident that when I became captain that was appropriate for the group at the time. I know, so I talked to Nina about it a bit, like how do you know when you're the one to lead? And you just have to have confidence that, is there anyone here that you think would be better at it or should share it with you? And you think, no, I'm the right person. That's probably how I felt when I was initially there. But I'd like to think that I've come a long way since then in terms of how I lead, but also how demanding I can be of the group or of myself. But to answer your question with more brevity, I think I'm at my best as a leader, when I've created the time and I think freedom, and I'm feeling good about myself and my game and my energy levels to then be able to pour them into other people, because I think it's really hard to feel that tension where you're thinking I should be doing this with regards to the team or to other individuals if you don't feel like you've sorted yourself out first. So as you said, I'm sometimes first here and last to leave, and that can be good. That can sometimes not be as efficient as I should be, but try to get better in that space too. I probably felt best when I'm making this decision to move to live down here was I think a really big turning point for that. So
no, it's good. It's been
that's 20 answers to one question.
No, it's great.
Now
It's
you get a
great
taste of
insight.
what I'm like.
I know, imagine how long the podcast would go if you were still here. And you've done a bit of work with Anna Box in the club, Boxy. Do you want to maybe just give the listeners a bit of an insight of what that kind of looks like?
I was trying to explain this to a teammate today, and I was like, well, it's like seeing a psych. In a leadership space?
Yeah, in a leadership space.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you'd have to ask her what her official... Do you know what her official title is?
No, I don't.
Consumer psych?
Oh, sorry. It's,
corporate psych?
Oh, is it? I
Psych
know
with a
she's
C.
done a bit in the... Oh, wow. This is
I guess
gonna be
she
bad.
kind of functions as a leadership consultant for us.
Yes.
So, yeah, I see her once every couple of weeks.
I think it's consumer. Sorry. I think it's consumer.
Yeah.
She used to do... Well, she definitely used to do stuff in the consumer psych space.
Well, she did. She's done our club values or our guiding principles. So she's just a great sounding board to check in with it about, you know, if I feel. Again, it starts with how I'm going personally, but then it can, you know, I can bring her questions about. For example, I remember having a really good one last year about how I feel pre-game and how that relates to how the team feels pre-game, how you're trying to elicit a certain response from the team, and just understanding how individuals function from a energy levels point of view, and what energizes people, or how other people need to come down. Or we might talk about how my physical health is, or my like all that. Yeah, she does a bunch of all that kind of stuff, but it's really good to have a sounding board for where we think the group and the club's at, and then to try and nudge it as leadership. Yeah.
And you just manage your emotions so well. I feel like you're someone within the group. You know, you might have your moments every now and then, but across the board, you do really well at managing. I think win, lose, or draw. You really model that. Well, you turn up the same. You're ready to go again, and you know that's really standard. How do you manage the expectations around being in a leadership position? How that can sometimes probably weigh a little bit heavier to some degree, and you also manage then your work that you're currently doing, and you've always been in a position of working full time and doing footy alongside it. There's some expectations that fall within that, and now your position here at the club. How do you keep your emotions and everything managed so well?
I'm glad that you think that. Oh gosh, I think it's what I said before. I'm definitely at my worst, or I struggle when I feel like I've got low energy and I've overcommitted myself, and I can do a little bit of the. It's not an inability to say no, but I really love all aspects of doing game review, talking about how the club's going, seeing sponsors, and going to the men's game, and I love all that stuff. So I can occasionally do it a little bit too much. You know, I like with everything, you have to be balanced, and I think I'm at my best when made a decision on the weekend. I was like, I I can't have one more conversation about football. I'm going to go to my mum's in Mornington, and we went to went to look at the Archwood exhibition, and I have other things that I enjoy in life and really important friends, school friends who, apologies to them, I don't see or speak to them enough. But when I'm doing that stuff, and I'm, you know, I heard a Venus Williams thing last week that was like, discipline creates freedom, you know, because if you're disciplined and you have, like Renee does, she's got a calendar for holidays and I'm going to do this, then you're not feeling anxious during those in-between times. So I'd be lying if I said I was good at that all the time. I'm not, but I see my psych. I have great managers at work, and you know, they help me prioritize
success.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. But there are times when you feel at odds with how the group's feeling, and that can be hard. I remember a game at the Gold Coast a couple of years ago. We lost, and we went in, and the group was really up and about, and I was really struggling with that, and I had to go back out onto the field and like got a bit upset because I was like, I just can't. I wouldn't want to tell the team to not be happy, but I was feeling at odds with how that was. But then we come away from a loss on the weekend, and I'm like, it's fine. Like it's you know, wasn't great, but it's you know, I think the more experience you have under your belt, the less you ride the wave, basically.
So
Great
good.
answer. That is so good. I'm going to throw one more.
Go.
Nice,
Get in there.
I'm on a roll.
Get in there.
So, and you've actually been, I don't know if you guys have seen, the face has come out a little bit so far. You've got this thing. Yeah.
Yes.
It's this like the grunt when you're just like, this is.
That's the one.
Oh, we've got like a zoom in there of the face. And I mean, oftentimes it can be when you've done something and you're feeling in the zone, when a teammate's done it. But when, you know, on the ground, just give us an insight. What is it, those moments where you just go, that's it.
I love it.
That's what I
It's
do.
when Tally Randall runs into me. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
We did mention that earlier. We were like,
And you bounce
Meg.
back up and she's still down.
Yeah.
I had an important conversation with a teammate last week about, you know, as you can tell, I love a chat, and I think you can lean into the things that you feel good at, and you know, I'm happy to speak in front of groups and in settings like this, but Dan and Brett's leadership of the club is very much on game day you lead with your performance, and Dan is also very clear on what we value as a team, and you know, you could all list those sort of things. And I was saying to his teammate that as much as we can lead by presenting well, and it's part of being employed at the club and representing a great club like this, nothing's going to get the gals as up and about as doing that hard contested game day stuff, like getting a big spoil in, and as much as you can lean into the coaches and just lock in and be like, that's what they want from me, and then when you see it from a teammate voicing that, I think that's when I get my face on. I've always been told to have a resting serious face, a resting like game day face, but we had that chat from Jess Fox.
We did.
Who was saying, I have this serious face on a comp, and I think that's me being in my power.
Yes,
And I
owning
was
your
like,
power.
I loved that. And I was
So
like,
good.
because I always think, you're so frowny. I do, but I was like, no, it's me owning my power.
We love it.
Great. Yeah, just got to know what gets you excited, and then just like, Anyway, gosh,
So good.
there you go.
So, big game 50, Meg, this
Yeah, it
weekend,
is.
and we're so excited for you and happy for you. The first one of our current team to hit the game 50, and I'm just curious, is there, I know this is actually a really hard question, do you have a game or a career highlight, or is there just too many? Is there a moment or a game for you, like, this one still stands out?
I mean, I think, Scotty played her 50th in her first game for the Cats. She played her 50th.
She did too, sorry.
Yeah,
Excuse
but that's
me.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I obviously round one. The ones I usually note are the 2017 VFL Premiership. That was really I kicked the first goal of the game, guys. I got thrown forward in that game. I crumbed a Daisy Pearce marking contest, if you can imagine,
I
and
love
snapped
this.
a goal.
I love
This is
it.
brilliant.
Get that footage
I
up.
was about to say, can we find the clip?
Anyway, so that was in that gap where I wasn't on a list, so that was great. Obviously, the first game here is
That's
so
what got you signed.
important, yeah, because I felt like you know, it's always that combo of the team's done well and I feel like I've contributed. And of course we all want to feel part of the team, but it's really powerful to feel like you've had a good day on a big day. So that one, I think when we really unlocked some scoring against St Kilda last year, we often talk about how good that game was. And I remember first playing in 2019 in that prelim, so funny to think that it was a prelim, on Adelaide Oval.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was
Running
like,
out.
this is awesome. But I am very confident that I'll have moments that'll top it in the
Near future.
before I'm done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We love it.
We've got a job to do.
Got a
We
job to do.
all know what that job is.
That's right.
So good. If there's no further questions right now, I'm sure we'll think of more that we'll ask you at training later on,
Nice.
Meg. I think it's time to get into which cat is that. As I said before, Meg, you're not a stranger to the segment. For those that are listening that may not have heard this segment before, it's a bit like Who Am I? It's about our teammates. There's going to be 8 clues, if we get that far, about one of our teammates. The girls have one opportunity to buzz themselves in to have a guess of the person that it might be. Incorrect guess and you're out. The current score standings, G is on 2. She was on the lead. Guests are on 1. Finchy won at round one, our first episode. And Becky currently hasn't got her win, but she's told me that she's definitely feeling on today.
Feeling on.
This week she's up and about. So let's get into it. All right.
Buzzer?
Buzzers.
Buzzers. Oh, yes. So have we thought of something new? Or are we going...
I'm going with Becky.
Oh, that's going to trick everyone.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. Becky, you want to test what you got
I don't
going
know what
on?
I'm going to actually go with.
Oh, okay.
We went numbers last week.
I'm going buzz because I always seem to
Okay,
bloody
buzz.
try to
Yeah, that's all right. It can be
say that.
anything.
Buzz.
You could say 50. Right, Meg?
Ooh, self-congratulatory. I'm going to say bang.
Bang, buzz, bang. Gee, what do you got? What's another B word?
Bop.
You guys are going to forget these when
Bop,
you
I
go in. All right, you ready?
We're not even about to hear them.
Okay.
Do you know what you should do? You took a great mark on the weekend. You should go clunk.
True.
Sorry, no. What am I doing? Bang.
Okay.
All right.
Bob.
This cat and I have played VFLW together. This cat's favourite thing to do outside of footy is go fishing.
Bang.
Oh.
That was cool.
You told me
early.
you were going to go early.
I just wanted to go early. No, I think I've gone too early. That's okay. Annabelle Johnson.
She's got it.
Oh, no way.
You know your teammates.
That is a great call.
That was like, no one will know that I like going fishing.
Except that I just had a coffee with her and she's like, I'm going fishing this weekend.
Actually, I FaceTimed her when she had COVID and she was sitting by herself with her little chair, put it down. She was just there fishing.
No
I'll
way.
tell you the rest just for
Yeah, Phil.
interest sake. This cat is not a local, and it wasn't football that brought her here. So she came here.
Oh,
for
uni? Yeah.
You won't be seeing this cat in coloured boots.
I didn't know
She
that.
actually goes black or white.
I didn't know
Standard. This cat has only ever played football in the hoops, so she's not played for any other footy team.
I reckon you'd have gone by now.
This cat has only played 32 games of football in total.
That's
I
crazy,
think
hey.
she said
That's
16 VFL and then AFL. This cat is not wearing the number that they started their career in.
Yeah, changed.
Yeah.
What was she before?
30.
Was it
She
30?
was
Yeah.
too.
30
That is
now
so
in
not
two.
her, hey.
Yeah.
And
She jumped on that quickly, didn't she?
if this cat was a DJ in the gym, country tunes would be.
Oh, yeah.
That
would've
would've
got
got
that.
me.
I know. I thought
Gee, that was too
Clue 8 would have got you.
Yes. Anyway, well done.
Oh, my God,
Good
Meg.
guess,
On the
Meg.
second.
You were going that regardless, though. You'd even said to me, like, I'm going to go early.
Well, I was trying to be like, this is the thinking. I was just like, maybe they'll go with Sammy because it's Sammy's birthday. Maybe they'll go with Rach because I should know her because she's, you know, my housemate.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go with one of you.
So good.
Anyway,
Well done, Meg.
Well
Doing
done,
it for
Meg.
the
Just
guests.
one of the pressure. I wanted to be like,
Done.
no, I know the gals.
And
You did
and
well.
do. And
Off the second. That is insane.
Wow, that is great.
She'll be stoked.
She'll be very stoked.
But she really did.
tell you.
No, she didn't tell me, but she, like, had she not have crashed my coffee with Flinny, then I wouldn't have necessarily known that either.
That's okay. Well, thank you, Meg. It's always great chatting.
Oh, I'm a fan of the pod, by the way.
Great.
Love the pod.
We love that. Congratulations, Big Game 50 this weekend. And we're leading into a segment that you're better at saying than I am. So we're leading
Oh,
into
yes.
Let's Hear It.
Rankin with Georgie Rankin.
Yeah.
On my long list of achievements, coming up with that is high.
It's very good. We thought we might snip it and then just
That's
play
awesome.
you saying it every week.
Can we do that?
Done.
I'll tell you how good I am.
Thanks for
No,
joining
it's
us,
a pleasure.
Maggie.
I'll find out what you're ranking when
When you
I listen in. See you, girls.
Thanks, Meg.
See you, Meg. Support our AFLW program and the development of women's football with an AFLW supporter membership. Plus, enjoy access to 2 AFLW home and away games in 2023. Access to Cats AFLW games, a Cats shop voucher valued at $20, member perks from the Cats and our partners, and get all the latest Cats news direct to your inbox, all for just $50. Visit membership.geelongcats.com.au for details.
And we are back. We're here in the warm-up area and it is getting close to training time, so we're getting a little bit distracted by all of our teammates walking through the corridors, and we've got a bit of some people using the warm-up area for some training. We've got Jel
Right,
Selwood.
you jumping in too? Bit of extra touch-free training? No.
Prez is just learning a bit of craft from one of the great
man.
midfielders and leaders of the club. So in Joel Selwood.
And
so
Flinny's taking notes, obviously.
And Flinny is. But we are back for Rankin with Georgie Rankin. I just can't do it, especially after hearing Meg say it so well. But
She does get very enthusiastic
yeah,
about it.
I'll keep practicing, but things I can learn off the leader himself.
All right, here we go. So another lot of rankings. This time we're doing a top 3. And the topic for this one round, which I did have some help from our producer. Is that what you're labelled? The producer.
Jake.
Producer Jake, bouncing some things off him. It's been a busy couple of days in the office, so was very appreciative for him to just get those creative juices flowing. And we've come up with top 3 supportive / motivational speeches from Louth, from the great man, the coach. And he has a way with words, doesn't he?
He does.
Oh, I'm so... Anyway,
I think he's
pre-game,
actually,
I'm just like looking into his soul. I'm
Dead
like,
set.
so good.
He said it before. Sometimes I'm sure he said he nearly got thrown one time because he's saying it and he stares right into Becky's eyes and Becky's just like, yes. Sometimes he goes, I can't look at her. I can't look at her. It's great. But he does have a way with words. So we're going to start off. We've got a 3, 2, 1. Coming in at number 3 was game against the Swans last year, which was obviously a really strong win. The last game of the regular season before we headed into finals. And within that game, he just had this moment where he looked at all of us and he went, how many games did you win in season, what was last season, season 7? Well, how many games did you win in season 5?
1.
How many in season 6? 2. And then how many in season 7? And we'd won
Something big.
7
Yeah.
games.
7.
Well, we didn't really do that justice, did we? We played that back. I probably should have noted that.
Yeah,
He did at the time, and it was just this element of,
Yeah.
you know, it was this perfect balance of reflecting on the great
The journey,
progress
yeah.
that we'd made and the journey. And I remember at the time we were sitting down and, you know, there was so many people in the room. You know, we have this one further down the track that we had those same people present. And when you have all your support stuff around, it does make all those words really come to life because you see them leaning into this messaging as much as it is Dan delivering it. But it was balanced out perfectly with going, but the job's not done yet. And
Yep.
we're leading into finals. And I just think he manages that so well. You don't want to come in to the end of the season and one where we'd had some good success and it's just a matter of, yay, we made it. Like, no, the next thing is we made it. Now let's go and win, you know, which didn't end up being the result, but it's just he knows how to balance that messaging between let's reflect and be really proud of what we've done, but it's not the end of the road. You know,
Yeah, completely.
there's the next part.
Hey, Chuka.
Chook and Spud, the 2 loudest people
Yeah.
on the team. Just about to do their pre-game touch as well. They like to do that out in the Oval. All right, so that was number 3. I didn't hear what she said. No. Number 2, which was on the doco, and this one, it was very close between this one and number 1, but the Crows pre-game where Dan is just in.
Yeah. He said something to Sherry, didn't he? About Sherry, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, when she was on the ground, he's like, well, I think he asked her, he's like, are you nervous or something?
Yeah.
And then, you know, she's like, yeah, a little bit. And he's like, yeah, well, so am I. But you know what? You've got
Yeah, all
21
around.
other sisters
so
around
good.
you, ready to take on this game. And, you know, even in that snippet in the doco where he's going, do not get bluffed.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
not let this team bluff you. That to me is like, every time I hear that, I can picture him, I can see it. And he's raw, isn't he? When
Isn't he? Yeah.
when he's just on a roll, it is just raw and authentic. And it's not like this, I'm going to create this inspiration.
Yep.
It's just him.
Love it.
But he reads the room of what's needed at that moment. Like
Yes.
there's times when it needs to be, let's go, and there's times where it's like a lift the group, get the group up. Like it's a
Really strong emotional intelligence, hey, of just seeing it.
Completely.
And it was like that. I think this isn't one of my rankings, but in one of the programs that we had this year already, I can't remember which game it was, he actually said to us, now, I don't actually need to shout at you or rev you up or anything, do I? Like, you know what you need to do. The job needs to be done.
Yep.
And again, another
good.
style of knowing exactly what we needed at the time. So he is very good at that. So that was the Crows pre-game. That just, that line, I could just have that up on the wall. Don't get bluffed. Anyway, number 1 comes to that North post-game final that we lost last season. And it probably reflects a little similarly to the Swans one of that reflection, but he was really really measured, and I think there was even clinical in the sense of kind of he reflected on some statistics. It's not to the extent of going all the way into the game, but I know he had some actual clear feedback to what had happened out there, as opposed to just a general like, it was unfortunate and we tried everything we could, and you know, those lines were thrown out there, but he knows how to remain relevant to the situation.
Completely.
And that's when we did have, again, everyone in the room, and he just sort of said, look around the room, we know that he can get choked up at times. But there were, you know, some tears around the group, and he does get around and give you a hug, and he'll make sure you're okay. But he was already going, bring on next year. And I think one of the lines he wrote out was like, stay with me. There was and I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something along the lines of, you know, I'm in this for you, with you, like, stay with me. If you want to stay along for the ride, let's do it together. And it was like I just went, I'll do it. I'll stay with you, Dan, whatever.
Was it in that he also was like, they're going to put us up against the likes of the Melbourne and the likes of North.
Was that
like
in
we're
that
gonna play,
one?
yeah. So I think it was also setting the tone that this is like, we maintain this and keep building.
Yep.
And yes, let's take on those good oppositions. And
We already have been, and we can see more coming into our draw.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, so that was that came in at number 1. So special shout out to Louth there, special shout out to Jake. But that was my ranking with Georgie Rankin.
loved
You
it.
love it. Good
Thank
work,
you.
G. Nice ranking.
And that is it for the 4th episode of Yeah, the Girls. So thanks for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, Deakin University, and we will see you all next week.
And Becky's already said that she's going to keep me on track to make note of what happens on the away trip. So I'll have some rankings actually relevant to the time away.
Port Adelaide, Saturday, 105, tune in, or come to Adelaide if you like. That'd be great. We'd love to see you
Jump
there.
on a flight.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.